This was absolutely crazy.
Why the heck did they need to know who is vaccinated and who is not vaccinated and how many doses they got to answer a political poll?
We have a surprise for you.
So I received a call yesterday evening. I was just trying to sit on the couch and relax and watch some Bob's Burgers with my son. And I received a call on the house phone because, yes, we are old school. We still have a landline. And it was from EKOS Research. So what I did was I recorded from my cell phone what they were asking me on the phone as I typed the buttons. And it's kind of interesting. So as Ryan says, let's take a look.
Press star to hear more information about us, and you can press 0 to skip a question. To ensure you receive questions that are relevant to you, please tell us which province or territory you currently live in. Press 1 if you live in the Atlantic region or in the territories. Press 2 for Ontario. Press 3. How much do you trust the federal government in Ottawa to do what is right? Press 1 for almost always. Press 2 for most of the time. Press 3 for some of the time. Press 4 for almost never. Press 9 to repeat this question. If a federal election were held tomorrow, which party would you vote for? Press 1 for Liberal Party. Press 2 for Conservative Party. How did you vote in the most recent federal election held on September 20th, 2021? Press 1 for Did Not Vote. Press 2 for Liberal Party. Press 3 for Conservative Party. Have you received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine? Please listen carefully to all options before selecting your answer. Press 1 for yes, 1 or 2 doses. Press 2 for yes, 3 doses or more. Press 3 for no.
This was crazy. This was absolutely crazy.
Why the heck did they need to know who is vaccinated and who is not vaccinated and how many doses they got to answer a political poll?
And here's the answer, folks. Remember, we've talked to you about the fact that these pollsters weight polls because they only get 1,000 or 2,000 responses. So they can't just take 2,000 responses and then say, all right, well, that's it. Well, they weight those responses so they can extrapolate the population of the entire country, and that's how they put out their polls. So, ladies and gentlemen, they're using COVID dosing and asking for people's private medical history to weight their poll.
I mean, in data collection or polling or surveys, anything like that, you don't ask questions that you don't need an answer to. So why did they need to ask that question?
Right. And how the heck are you using that to assume how people are going to vote? So this is my guess, folks. They're basically saying, well, all of those uneducated people that didn't take COVID, well, they're going to be voting PPC. They're going to be voting Conservative. They're far-right nut jobs. But if you have all your shots, well, obviously, you're going to be voting Liberal. You're going to be voting, NDP.
Now, there was an option to skip questions by essentially entering a null or I don't want to answer. And that's what I did for that question because I thought it was so bizarre. Why would you be asking that question? What does that have anything to do with anything that I didn't want to answer it? It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. Why do you need to know what people's vaccine status is to ask them which party they're going to vote for?
And this is the first weighting question, folks. This is the first one. So this means that this was their most important question to weight their polling.
Yeah, the only thing that I missed in the recording was the initial, hi, we're calling from EKOS Research, and, this is our privacy policy, and we're going to ask you some questions, and blah, blah, blah. All the questions were captured in the recording.
So, We are going to be re-releasing this tomorrow. So if you're watching this tomorrow, please share the heck out of this, because this is going to be cut into its own video. And we want everyone to see how Frank Graves is actually weighting all of his polls by asking you for your private medical information. Anyway, let's continue.
And for those of you wondering, yes, if you listen closely, you can hear the Bob's Burgers episode in the background.
Press 9 to repeat this question. We now have a few questions left, which will be used to help us make better sense of the results. Please be assured that your answers will remain completely confidential and anonymous. What is your gender? Press 1 for female. 2. In which age group do you belong? Press 1 if you're under 35 years old. Press 2 if you are between 35 and 49 years old. Press 3 if you're between 50 and 60. What is the highest level of education you've completed? Press 1 for high school or less. Press 2 for college or cégep. Press 3. How many children under the age of 18 are currently living in your household? Press 1 for none. Press 2 for 1 or 2. Would you describe you and your household as poor, working class, middle class, or upper class? Press 1 for poor. Press 2 for working class. Press 3 for middle class. 4. Do you consider yourself to be a member of a visible minority? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Press 9 to repeat this question. And do you consider yourself to be an indigenous person? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. And are you a person with a disability? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Press 9 to repeat this question. Are you currently a member of a labor union? Press 1 for yes, a private sector union. Press 2 for yes, a public sector union. Or press 3 for no. What is the language that you first learned at home and still understand? Press 1 for English. Press 4. Have you immigrated to Canada within the last 10 years? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Are you taking the survey on a cell phone or a landline? Press 1 for cell phone. Press 2 for landline. Press 1 if the first character of your postal code is K. Press 2 if it's L. Press E. Please enter the second character of your postal code using your keypad. Press pound to repeat this question. EKOS Research randomly recruits people from across Canada to join.
And that was Vincent making his Northern Perspective verbal debut, I suppose.
I guess,
he
yeah.
was trying to read the flashcards to me saying boat, boat.
So all of those subsequent questions, they use that in their data modeling to say how many people that have a landline are over the age of X, and how many people that are Indigenous are voting Conservative. And then they try to extrapolate that and use that in their data modeling. So, fine, I can understand the Indigenous, I can understand the not Indigenous, I can understand the age, I can understand the postal code because, where are you? What riding? But your vaccine status for COVID? Why aren't you asking about my vaccine status for measles?
Or rabies.
Why aren't you asking for my vaccine status for hepatitis? But no, because COVID-19 was a politically divisive issue, they're asking for that private medical information. That is... Get the hell out of my medical history.
It's weird, right? Especially how many years are we removed from COVID? 4 or 5?
Well, according to some people, we never left, right?
Well, it's going to be, what do they call it? Subclinical? No.
I don't know.
I can't remember the word right now, but where it's kind of floats around the population. It's like the flu, right?
I don't know. When I was hearing that, this is all I could think of.
What the hell is going on?
That's all I could think of. But but this is the same polling firm, everybody, that if you do watch the polls, they are showing the Liberals at 50%.
But again, if they're calling landlines, many people our age do not own landlines, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, EKOS polling, Frank Graves, who vowed in 2022 that he was going to do everything possible to prevent Pierre Poilievre from being Prime Minister of Canada.